Okay, well, I'm about to start, so shut the fuck up. Hello! Welcome to A Star to Steer By, a Star Trek podcast coming to your ears, blasting in your head. You're gonna come a lot.
It's that kind of episode. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Fisting.
Maybe. Fisting. Cool. Anyway, this is A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek podcast, because there are no others,
Nope,
as
true.
you know.
It's the only one. Or at least the best one.
And this is episode 198.
Ow!
My name is Jake, and I'm joined today by...
Sorry, when we wooed, Phantom gave us the nastiest look, so...
As well,
No,
he
it wasn't
should.
nasty. It was kind of bemused.
Maybe. Anyway, this is Chris.
This is Ames.
And this is Caitlin.
And today we'll be talking about 2 episodes
Nope.
of 3 episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
What the hell is
Space-
going on?
Yeah, well, that's because in a couple of weeks we're going to have a 2-parter that's kind of...
Yeah.
It's not named
Sneaky.
part 1 and part 2, so in order for those 2 episodes to fall on the same episode, we decided to squeeze 3 in this week. Deep Space Nine is the second live-action spin-off of the original Star Trek series starring William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and Bones. And
Just a pile.
following-
Just a pile of bones.
It's
following
called a skeleton.
quite successful Star Trek The Next Generation with Patrick Stewart, and now we're talking about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which has Avery Brooks and friends. You know, I'm just saying this stuff for people that might be tuning in for the first time. I know a lot of you already know what Star Trek is and know what Deep Space Nine is, but in case you just stumbled on this podcast, I figured I'd give you the background. So we'll be talking about 3 episodes: The Ascent, Rapture, not Rupture, and The Darkness and the Light. The Darkness
And the light.
So
Ascension
real...
and the Rapture sound like the same thing, don't they?
The Ascent.
Oh, sorry.
It's the
The Ascent
Ascent.
and Rapture. It sounds similar.
Yeah, it's
saying.
possible, yeah. If you're talking about heavenly things. So in The Ascent, it's Odd Couples Week,
Yep.
and in which, in our A plot, we have Odo has been assigned to take Quark to some place to give testimony at a grand jury, and Odo, of course, assumes it's about something Quark did, and he's, going to go to jail for a long time, so he's reveling in the prospect of bringing Quark to prison. But en route, and in the shuttlecraft, in the runabout, I guess, Quark hears something funny with his big ears. What
He
big
would.
ears he has. They pry up the deck boards, and they look underneath, and there's a bomb!
Gasp!
Someone
Yeah.
set us up the bomb.
Someone set us up the bomb. So anywho, bomb blows up, damages the runabout in such a way that they have to crash land. And it turns out that the landing destroys pretty much everything of
Very
use.
specific things.
Yeah, so like the transmitter, all except 2 ration packs, and all except 1 survival coat and hammer pants.
And the replicator.
And the replicator. But they do, Quark is like, well, I think the transmitter will work if we get to higher ground, and there happens to be the Matterhorn, like, over there, so why don't we head up there, we'll bring the transmitter with us, and we'll be all set. The rest of the episode is Quark and Odo trudging through the woods up this mountain, being, salty to each other, but also with some love.
Well, yeah, but
Of-
don't
eve-
forget the... Go ahead, Jake.
Eventually Odo, they have a big fight, and Odo falls down and breaks his crown, and Quark came tumbling after.
Now, see, that's good.
And then Quark had to drag Odo up the rest of the mountain, at least until they were close to death, at which point Quark finally leaves Odo behind to drag the transmitter up the rest of the way. And they're eventually rescued, and it's great. And they still love-hate each other. Also in the B plot of this episode, it is Nog's return. Well, not permanent return, but he's on like a sophomore something or other.
Internship kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's Starfleet Academy in your second year. You get to go to a star base and hang out and do shit.
Excuse to have Aaron Eisenberg back on the show.
Yeah.
Yep,
Which I love.
So he's back, and now, and he and Jake are very excited because they're gonna room together, best friends, living the bachelor life on Deep Space Nine. But it turns out that while he's been at Starfleet Academy, Nog's turned into a total square.
Fucking
and is like,
Harold or whatever.
You gotta
Herbert,
lose all this stuff. Herbert. Meanwhile, Jake has turned into a total slob. So we have, Nog, the neat freak, get up at 4 a.m. and do push-ups, and Jake, who's like, I just want to play Domjot all day.
And just shed clothing everywhere.
And just throw my clothes around the room.
Yeah.
How many outfits does he wear in a day that he's wasting this many pieces of clothing?
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, especially since all those clothes fit into one suitcase.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the end, there's a scene, they get angry with each other. Nog's like, fuck this, I'm leaving. And then Sisko and Rom get together and they're like, boy, our kids sure suck. But maybe they could teach each other something, so we should force them to be friends again. And they do. And without really talking about it or like settling anything, they're just friends again. So
for at least the time that they're on screen together. And then...
Yeah, right.
Punches.
So, with the B plot, it was pretty obvious that, they were going to go all odd couple, that, Nog was going to become a bit more of a hard ass and this, that, and the other thing. But I was sort of disappointed that the scheme to get them back together wasn't somehow more convoluted than just Sisko pulling rank.
I mean, Sisko did have to fake, there's no other quarters. We could put a single person on the whole station. Even though we learn next episode that Cassidy's quarters have just been sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. But,
well, at least last time they weren't friends anymore. They stuck them in the brig together until they got along. Maybe they could have, put them in sick bay. Oh, no, because that's where Quark and Odo wound up.
Well, they were in the sick bay on the Defiant.
No, they were on the Defiant.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, they could have wound up in sick bay. You
know
both
that,
got some fever or other. Guess you have to hang out here until you're better.
Yep, let's expose both of them to COVID-19.
Oh, too soon.
No, they're at least up to COVID-36 by then.
Well, in COVID-19 they could easily cure, I'm sure, by then.
No, wait,
what year 19... is this?
Yeah, the 19 comes from the year it was.
No, but I like perpetuating the joke that it's the 19th one, because idiots actually think that. And
God, people.
They're like, how bad could it be? The first 18, I didn't even notice.
It's a good impression.
It is a good impression.
But yeah, no, because I was really excited that, Sisko and Rom were sitting around being, dads. And I was hoping it would be a bit more ridiculous. But I guess that would have fucked with the tone of the episode. Because, it was already a little, it wasn't too bad, but it was a little, going from, very serious, deathly climbing a hill to, like Jake said, odd couple shenanigans.
Yeah,
Jake
very fillery.
Jake leaving his pants in a replicator for some reason. Why were they in a replicator? Who?
He was trying to replicate the stains off.
There had to be a better way to show he was slovenly than his clothes everywhere. Because like you said, Ames, what is this boy change his clothes every 5 minutes?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Nog comes back at one point, says he's been out doing tasks for 9 hours, and the whole quarters are coated in shirts.
We already know that...
Wouldn't that be shirted in shirts?
I love that.
Nice,
that's perfect.
That's good. We already know that Star Trek technology makes no sense, and every pad only has approximately half a megabyte of memory. So you need, separate pads for separate books and things. So it would have made more sense for him to have, pads everywhere. These are different stories I'm working on. This is my Domjot pad. These are just notes.
That wouldn't translate as easily for the audience as being schmutz.
It still could have been clutter, though,
Yeah, but...
See, I think it would have been better if we saw, Nog organizing shit, meticulously, and then Jake fucks it up.
Or we're saying, this isn't where I like this thing. I like it somewhere where I know where it is.
Yeah, just random clothes everywhere just didn't work. It was what the fuck?
Yeah.
These are writers that don't know how to write teenage boys, I think.
Clearly.
I mean, it's also, but I also kind of struggle. It's okay, when I think of the college dude, slob trope. It's like pizza boxes, soda cans, and jerk off material.
Yeah, I was gonna say dirty dishes, like semen-soaked socks, and probably porn.
Dishes everywhere totally could have worked. Because even Sisko remarked on his inability to remember to put a dish back in the replicator. Like, I could believe
Chekhov's
that
dish.
over the course of 9 hours, he, got a lot of drinks and ate a couple of times, and...
I would love it if when you replicate a pizza, it replicates with the cardboard box.
I mean, if it doesn't... He has a bunch of
cardboard boxes.
If it doesn't, there's something wrong with the replicator. You gotta get that tiny table, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not that anyone uses that anymore. I haven't seen one of those in years.
I used to repurpose those in my dollhouse.
Nice.
Yeah, they make a good little table.
Yeah.
But we also see that Jake has been, writing stuff, and Nog has gone and edited past prologue, which is hilarious because that was the name of an episode of DS9.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Was it an episode that needed some more editing? Because that would have been even funnier.
I honestly don't remember much about it. I think that was the one where everyone was mad at Odo for being a shifter? I don't remember now. No, that was A Man Alone. I don't remember past prologue. But
that's the one where
that's a Jadzia episode, isn't it?
Nope, it is. Oh, it's actually the 3rd episode of the show. Well, if you count the first 2 parts of Emissary as 2 separate episodes. A member of the Bajoran Underground seeks asylum on DS9, attracting the attention for Cardassians and Klingons and testing Kira's loyalties.
That's right. I remember it now.
Yeah, but the joke that the writers have is that Jake Sisko is the one writing Deep Space Nine, the show. Therefore, they can blame that bad episode, Let He Who Is Without Sin, on Jake Sisko.
What?
Also, he also wrote an episode where he gets laid by a weird alien chick, so...
That sounds alright.
The Muse, yeah. Ugh.
Yikes.
But yeah, the other element of the B-plot, before we move on, so Rom has a sneaking suspicion that Nog could be a changeling, so he steals his blood.
Yep.
Rom! What?
And also, it's not like he's a medical professional. How did he do it? I just, I'm scared that he just, cut him open
without
with
Nog knowing,
a table
too.
knife or something.
There's a great episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where, a couple of the characters are trying to prove that one of the other characters is actually Danny DeVito's son. Not literally Danny DeVito's character.
Frank
So they keep stealing his blood while he sleeps. But of course they're incredibly incompetent, so they put it in a plastic shopping bag and bring it to a lab.
Does he keep waking up really weak and anemic because they take too much? Good.
Yeah.
So he probably also thinks that there's a vampire about, or what? Because I just feel like that's...
He thinks he's losing it, yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's about to die. The whole episode is that he thinks he's about to die, so they're trying to figure out paternity to figure out who gets his money when he dies.
Oh, God.
But it turns out he's not really dying, he's just having his blood stolen.
I know we've said this before, but I can't remember if it's been on air. They need to get Danny DeVito on Star Trek someday.
I think we've said that many times, and I wholeheartedly agree.
He needs to be on everything. Danny DeVito is just a fucking treasure.
But yeah, no, that was weird. 8 hours now. I think it's fine.
Such a dummy.
But yes, it is weird that Nog did not wake up from that.
Well, I mean, I'm presuming they use, an inverse hypo spray, that just...
Yeah, but while I imagine the hypo spray is relatively painless, I still feel like you feel something.
Or you'd at least hear it going...
Well, as we also find out in this episode, Ferengi are remarkably sound sleepers.
True. True.
They must... Actually, it's probably a biological thing, because if they woke easily with those ears...
That's true.
Yeah.
Any little noise would probably...
And it's constantly raining on Ferenginar.
Yeah, but raining
so
is a
they're
pleasant
probably
sound.
evolved to just sleep very deeply.
Yeah.
Cool, so moving on to the A-plot. It's not the most interesting plot or a plot that's very sci-fi or that anything happens, but Armin and Renee are very cute. So
it's very much a character piece. I do enjoy the twist early on that it turns out even Odo wasn't cleared to know exactly what was happening and was just trying to get Quark to incriminate himself.
Yeah, the bluffing angle was good.
Though,
It was.
shame on Starfleet or the Federation prosecutor or whatever, because it's like, oh, hey, just so you know, your guy is going to be a state's witness against some of the biggest criminals in space. Because like he said, had he known the fucking Orion Syndicate was involved, they would have taken the Defiant.
Yeah. So
And
is
had,
the idea,
like, security and all kinds of shit. Not just the two
is
of
the
them.
idea that the bomb was set up by the Orion Syndicate in the roundabout?
Either by them directly or someone they hired, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would assume.
I forgot if that got really, like, established or if I just kind of assumed.
Yeah, no, you're supposed to, like, they don't say exactly the details, but yeah, presumably if they're as powerful as they sound, like, they're basically, it sounds like the space mafia.
Yeah. And these are the same Orions from the cage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Who I think
we know that they're slavers. At
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, we haven't seen them since then, but they've been referenced a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And they're generally as criminal entities.
Yeah, I think we actually will get an episode later in this series. Like dives pretty deep into the Orions.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, cool.
I'd forgotten.
Well, I know they're still popping up from time to time in present day, right?
Yeah, and they show up
well, we see them
a couple times in Enterprise too.
And by the time we get to at least lower decks, there's a character that is Orion.
10D is Orion. I think
And
as
it's
of
just
airing,
a Starfleet officer. So
yeah, as
apparently it's not a racial thing. It's just if you're not all Orions are criminals. Some of them are.
No, that's true. But yeah, the only time they've mentioned them up until this point is as related to the criminal element of the Orions. What were you saying, Ames?
I was gonna say there's in the as of recording the most recent Discovery episode, there's I believe we get to see some of what looks like the future Orion Syndicate.
Yep.
But also we did see them in TAS.
Oh, I forgot about that. You're right, we did.
I mean, we try to forget TAS to begin with.
Were they baddies?
Were they? Yeah, of course they were.
I don't remember.
They were pirates.
And there's a handful of Orions in the Kelvin timeline.
Those don't count.
Oh yeah, doesn't Kirk bang one?
Yeah.
Of course he does.
And I think Chekhov.
He bangs Chekhov? I don't remember that.
It's a deleted scene from Beyond.
So we're out here shooting on Mount Whitney.
Mount Whitney.
Pretending it's cold because it actually wasn't cold.
I was wondering.
That's funny.
It was just a pleasant day.
Better than hot.
Yeah, so they added that line being like, how could it be so cold when it's sunny out? Just to make sure, like, no, it's be cold, even though you're sweating under these coats.
It's got to be one of the few like Star Trek location shoots that's not in the desert. So that's nice.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, maybe it seems weird to some people. I mean, we're in New England. It can be very sunny and 20 degrees.
Yep.
So, I mean,
sometimes
it's not that
the
weird.
sunniest days are the coldest days here, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
Because, like, if there's a lot of snow and the glare, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ira Stephen Bear says a lot of the origin of this episode was he really wanted to do a spin on Waiting for Godot, but with Odo and Quark. And I'm like, ugh, gross, because I'm not a fan of that play.
I don't know the play.
I wish they'd just, like, at some point gotten the two of them in their full makeup, but in the, like, you know, I can't think of the character name. But, like, you know, because aren't they supposed to be in, like, formal wear and little hats or something? Or am I making that up?
Care.
If that's the case, why wasn't this episode called Waiting for Odo?
Odo?
Like Odo?
Oh, God.
Oh.
God damn it.
Because they unfortunately weren't waiting for him. They were waiting for rescue of some kind.
Yeah, which apparently the Defiant just shows up. Why did that happen?
Well, I'm guessing that they weren't that far away from Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay.
It didn't take long for them to get there.
They'd been flying for 4 days.
Yeah, but the Defiant can probably go a lot faster than a runabout.
Oh, yeah.
And since we know warp is exponential, like... And
Have they been flying for 4 days?
They established at one point
the total trip was 4 days.
No,
they had been flying 4 days.
Oh,
the total trip was going to take 9 or 8.
Right.
8 or
at
9,
least a week.
And they'd already been on the planet for several days, so they'd probably gotten word that Odo hadn't shown up and had already started looking, and then Quark got the transmitter to the mountaintop and got it on.
got it on.
Nah.
I don't know. I feel like it could have just been a different ship passing by and they were in their med bay and that would have made sense.
Yeah, but that would have involved hiring extras.
Yeah.
Could have been an Orion Syndicate ship.
No!
Womp womp. But yeah, I don't remember the top speed of a runabout, but I'm sure the Defiant can go faster.
I don't know. I remember that they are warp capable.
They are.
So it's not like a shuttle pod.
No, but it probably maxes out well below warp 8 or 9, which I imagine the Defiant can do.
But even at that, if they were that close to death, maybe they weren't as close to death as they thought.
Maybe.
They're being preserved
because Odo
by
had,
the cold.
just when he got rescued, he had already assumed that Quark was dead.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it was becoming nighttime
Hmm.
on that planet.
So was it the same day that Quark left?
Maybe?
Unclear,
I'd
but we
assumed
also,
that.
we also don't know how long a day on that planet would be.
Yeah.
True.
Like that's
Yeah.
something that we almost never explore are planets that have like wildly different day and night
No, that's true.
cycles.
Or
And this one
tidally
is
locked planets.
and this is class L.
yeah,
It's barely
barely
habitable.
habitable.
That's one letter before M. So
Yep.
it's almost M.
But not quite.
Not quite.
But
Not quite.
And lucky that Quark knew how to fucking splint a broken leg, especially one
Yeah.
like so comically like Gumby broken as Odo's. It was like, I think my leg is broken. It was like behind his head. Like, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I gotta say,
It looked pretty. Yeah, it doesn't look great. I'm
Odo,
not gonna lie to you.
Odo was taking that really well. If my leg was that broken, all I would be able to say is incoherent screaming.
I mean,
Well, keep
it
in
wasn't
mind-
like they fell down a great distance. They rolled down a gentle slope.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck happened?
And
He
keep
hit a
in
really
mind-
big rock on the way down.
The snow
Odo-
isn't really snow; it's explosives. You just shit. My leg.
Right. But also Odo hasn't been a human for all that long. He probably doesn't really get like injuries, like how injuries are bad. Because normally, like he doesn't
Yeah,
get
but-
injured by
But
anything.
that also means he doesn't know pain, probably, right? Which means this should be excruciating. Like, if he hasn't had many injuries in his life, I would not expect him to just be like, oh, I think my leg is broken. Like, I don't know.
Oh, he's just fighting through the pain. I don't know.
Very tough, man. Apparently.
This is interesting, though, because, right, this is an episode that would not have worked with Odo as a changeling.
Nope.
Correct.
He even says in the episode, I could have just turned myself into a bird and flown to the fucking top of the mountain.
Yeah. Also, this episode makes a whole lot more sense why his hair gets all tousled and gross. Wherein I think it was in the episode, I want to say Crossfire, where he's got like a loose strand of hair and we were picking on him for like, that's not a thing that would happen with Odo, but now it makes
now it
sense.
can. Yeah.
Because he does have actual hair.
He has to use pomade, and it was all blown up in the explosion.
God damn that explosion.
Yeah, I actually take some exception to how a runabout is stocked with stuff. Because it wasn't like a huge explosion. They
Yeah,
were
what
standing
explosion?
within feet of it, and neither
Yeah.
of them were injured in the explosion.
Right. Like I thought they managed to contain the explosion mostly by having it mostly in the beam.
But
Oh, yeah, it can
apparently
fuck
it
up
was
that
enough
area
to
of the ship,
destroy
but-
all of the survival gear.
Yeah.
which
Even
is
though, where is
ridiculous.
that held?
Right. Directly under that
Yeah, I was
floor.
gonna say,
Damn it.
we're right where the bomb was held.
You know what it is? We only saw that bomb. There were a bunch of other tinier bombs in all the, like, storage areas, just in case.
Yeah, it's like how you used to warn your kids about, Halloween candy being dangerous.
Yeah.
There's little bombs and all the,
Yeah.
I think it's more likely that, they were like, there's no room in this pantry for this bomb. Let's just throw out all these rations and put the bomb in the pantry. Perfect. So actually, no rations were injured. They just were removed for bomb storage.
See, if they said things destroyed in the crash, or like if the roundabout had like broken up in the crash and they couldn't find where the rest of it was, that'd be one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the explosion. Like if the explosion were that bad that it was taking out whole sections, then they should be exposed to space and be dead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Doesn't make a ton of
Well,
sense.
he did say that they were losing atmosphere, and that's why they had to crash land.
Oh, okay, I had missed that.
Yeah, I feel like Odo mentions that. He's like, why is it so cold out there? And he's like, it's cold in here because we have a crack or
Well, no,
some
even
shit.
before they crashed, he was saying that the ship was damaged and that they were losing atmosphere in space.
Yeah, so they already had a
So
hull breach.
Yeah.
Good.
It just got worse when they crashed.
It just got crashed when they crashed.
Yep.
I wonder, though, right? So somehow, under Odo's watchful eye as chief of security, Orion Syndicate agents not only boarded the station with a bomb, but were able to get it onto the runabout, which should be a pretty secure thing.
They can probably afford to just bribe members of his staff.
Maybe.
Conversely, he spends a lot more time sleeping, eating, masturbating, pooping, peeing than he used to. So there's bound to be some things slipping by even his most watchful gaze.
Yeah, it's less watchful than it used to be.
Quark makes a comment, something to the effect of, oh yeah, you never did all these various things before, eat, sleep, make love. Now you can. I'm like, is Quark gonna make love to Odo? Is this when it finally happens?
To you, like
we gotta conserve our warmth.
I said that at one point. I was like, I hope they strip down and wrap themselves in blankets to survive. I was sorely disappointed that never happened. I'm sure Odo was too, secretly.
Just thinking, though, when, Odo is sure he's gonna croak, and he, whoever's listening, just reminds them to please, desiccate and sell Quark's body, even though it's probably not worth much. And then there was something about him wanting his ashes put into his bucket and shot into the Gamma Quadrant that was, weirdly
that.
moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
I also like that he has kept his bucket. Because he stopped needing it, even before he was a solid, he had gotten used to, being able to sort of contain himself.
Well, he put Kira's plant in it. Kira gave him a plant.
That's right! I forgot about that.
That's even nicer than...
He did throw it against a wall, but he can probably resuscitate that plant. Keiko can do it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know, that was just a really nice touch.
I like it even more now that I remember that he put Kira's plant in it, though.
Yeah, that I completely forgot.
Double.
Thank you, Ames.
At first it was just thinking oh yeah, it's important because it reminds him of where he's come from and how he's grown, but also it reminds him of his girlfriend.
Yeah, so cremate me and the plant together in the bucket.
And use me to fertilize something nice on Bajor.
No, he wants to be shot.
I know.
Cool. Well, anything else on the Ascent?
Before
we move on?
Not a lot to talk about because it's a really solid character piece, but not... Oh, yes, sorry, one very last little thing. Quark bringing root beer for Nog.
Oh, for
I was thinking of that, yeah.
He cares in his own weird little way.
Well, especially since we saw him understand that, friends are that episode where he loses everything, but then his friends bring him stuff. Friends are the capital that we made along the way. The profit we made along the way. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a nice touch. And I like that Rom was like, do you think you'd mind if I took one? And Quark's like, well, I would. So he's like, oh, so that means it's fine.
Yeah, I also like that root beer would be the connective tissue to these two episodes if we hadn't had to make this a 3-parter and tack another one on. Because in Rapture, we also have a case of root beer to drink.
Yes, that's right.
How did I miss that? Tell me about it, Jake.
Yeah, I'd genuinely forgotten about the root beer.
Well, it did come up when Quark was celebrating.
Oh, that's right.
The Federation would be.
He's going to sell a lot more root beer.
Spending more time there.
Oh, that's right.
So why is the Federation going to be here, Jake?
Well, because excitingly, Bajor's application to be accepted into the Federation has been approved.
Oh,
no. So all the Starfleet brass are heading out to Deep Space Nine to sign the papers and drive it off the lot. But there's a bit of a complication in that shortly before this, some artwork had been returned to Bajor from Cardassia. It's some ancient artwork of an ancient lost city, and Sisko is like, well, maybe I can solve the mystery of where this city was located, because nobody really knows.
Yeah, I'm going to build a sail ship, and then I'm going to find a lost city, because I don't have any other jobs to do. Damn it, Sisko!
Well, and apparently there was a prophecy that the emissary would find it or some bullshit. But anyway, in the painting, you can see this obelisk that's supposedly got the coordinates of the city, but only two sides are shown. And nobody in the thousands of years that this painting has existed thought, I wonder if they're reflected in the reflective water that's right behind the obelisk in the painting. And it turns out they are, which I thought immediately when I saw the painting.
Yeah, me too.
Chris said
As
the same thing.
As soon as they were like, oh, you can only see two sides, I'm like, but you can also see the other two sides in that waterfall. But you can't see them clearly, so it's not really working out. Sisko makes a model of it in the holosuite, and then he gets zapped. He gets shocked. Some defective thing in the holosuite shocks him.
Yeah,
and,
to really see it, you have to have been zapped first.
Yes, by Quark's faulty machinery.
But it turns out he's okay. He wakes up in sickbay, and Bashir's like, "Oi, governor, you're all right, but your brain's a little bit jumbled. So for a couple days, you might see things a little bit brighter." And
then he's
cheers.
saying chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo, and danced on the fucking rooftops.
That's right. So anyway, sure enough, Sisko starts seeing things more clearly, including things that ain't there. He starts having like some weird visions, but they're clearly real because he manages to see the other two sides of the obelisk and figure out exactly where the city is. Oh, by the way, Cassidy Yates is out of jail.
Yay!
So she's
Yeah,
back.
she was only away for 6 months.
Yeah, you think there'll be more.
Seems
Let's
like
let's
Somebody
forget
probably pulled some
entirely.
strings.
Let's forget that she was a traitor. It's fine. She's fine now.
so weird.
So Sisko drags her to the ruins that he finds under the ground, buried. Starfleet's there, and Admiral Squarepants is there, and is like, "Well, Ben, sure glad you're doing this Bajor stuff, but could you also, do your fucking job?" And
Accurate. I mean, he should.
Sisko's like, "Yeah, sure. Just as soon as I do all this Bajor stuff." So Sisko gets crazier and crazier. Kai Wynn shows up,
Ooh.
and she's like, "I'm going to derail this whole thing," because that's what she does, referring to the Starfleet thing or the Federation, joining the Federation. And then Sisko is like, "Look, I'm actually the emissary because I found this lost city that only the emissary could find." And she's like, well, if Sisko says it's all right, he's clearly the emissary, so I guess I won't derail the whole thing. And then Sisko walks in right as they're about to sign the paperwork and derails the whole thing by saying, "No, you can't join the Federation. Bajor will be destroyed. I'm crazy." And then he collapses on the floor. And it turns
Jake
out
has to put him down.
it turns out that whatever was happening with his brain that was causing these visions is actually killing him. And the only way to fix it would be for Bashir to do surgery, but that would take away the visions. And Jake Sisko's like, "Well, fuck it. If he's going to die, I'd rather not do that." So Bashir does the surgery. Sisko loses the visions. Admiral, what's his name,
Waitley
is like, "Ben, I could fire you for this. And honestly, I really should, because you've clearly fucked it. But, the Bajorans seem to like you. So, no harm. Well, quite a bit of harm. No foul."
Okay.
And then some geese run by. All right, also foul.
Ah! No, it's the emus. The emus are back.
Here's the thing. Admiral Wheatland's there.
Wheatlands!
Should have, knowing that Sisko had been injured and was effectively high as a kite because of it, should have insisted Sisko stay away from everything. He should have been like, "You know what? Yes, stay in this dank-ass cave. I'll deal with literally everything else." You should have known something was gonna go hooey if you insist this man, whose brain is, malfunctioning horribly, is, let loose. He deserves as much of a tongue lashing as Sisko. I'm sure he got back to Earth and they were like, "What the fuck were you thinking?" The man had been kazapped. The doctor was like, "Yeah, no, he is effectively high 24/7. And you, what the fuck?
I mean, it makes me also wonder. So Sisko is the emissary to Bajor.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good for him, man. But he's also the commander of the Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
And I don't think you can be both. Pick one.
That's been the issue the whole time, is like they want Bajor to be chummy with them, so they've had to tolerate stuff like they're deciding he's a religious figure, which definitely flies in the face of the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
I like how you said that, Ames. It was so enthusiastic.
It is.
Yeah!
It's like, what the fuck, Sisko?
And that's the other weird
part. Both Kirk and Picard wouldn't do this, and they love breaking the Prime Directive.
But, like, and that's the other weird thing, is they're, like, bitching about the fact that he's doing all this Bajoran shit, but it's also kind of like, again, kind of part of the job, since he's the emissary. Like, he found the ancient city. Like, the Bajorans want him to be there. So it's, to me, as much a part of the diplomatic process as being on the station to do bullshits.
But it's two different jobs.
Yeah, but again, because of the goals the Federation has, they sort of need to tolerate the fact that he is the emissary, because, again, the Bajorans want him to be, and they want to keep the Bajorans happy, so it's like,
Yeah, there's no way this is logical.
Mm.
I mean, it makes sense, but it does fly in the face of their own rules, and they are happy to throw them out the window when it comes to getting a planet into the Federation that owns a wormhole.
But it also seems, though, like you should, if you're Starfleet at this point, you're like, okay, Sisko's a good commander, good captain, he does all the things, but there's this one glaring flaw, which is he sometimes has, like, crazy visions from these wormhole aliens. Maybe we should send, like, another dude out there, or lady, or whatever, to be like
Sentient plant.
Send somebody else.
Yeah, what's
out
Beauregard up to these days?
Miss
Right.
him.
Just to be backup. I mean, I guess Worf was kind of like that, but if you want a stable individual backing up Sisko, you don't send Worf.
You don't send any of his staff. There is no one on that staff who is stable. Like, because even if the chief was stable, some crisis is going to happen at some point and make him unstable again.
He's going to suffer some more, because that's part of his job.
Yeah, Dax, you think, Dax, she's stable until her worm acts up again. Bashir...
Well, these are also not people on the command path.
That too.
Right.
Like, there is no other main character who's in the command path.
Well, Worf is.
Well, Worf is kind of a very special case.
And also, he would be terrible at diplomacy.
Yeah, because he's there as, like, a strategic, like, advisor.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would think that, maybe we should send out some other captain, or, I don't know, station and a vice admiral on
Eddington.
the station.
No, wait.
Damn.
Oops,
Yeah, he was the backup.
Soon,
He's gone now.
I mean, like we said before, though, like, the minute the wormhole, in quote-unquote reality, the minute the wormhole was discovered and the importance of it was realized, they would have pulled literally the entire crew and replaced them.
They being...
Starfleet.
Okay.
Because this was, like I think we said it, like, this was clearly meant to be kind of just like a shit mission, It's like,
it's frontier. It's the edge of the frontier. No one goes out here.
It's unimportant. We gotta help stabilize this shitty little planet, because, like, Picard and two other important people like it for some reason. But then, like, the minute the wormhole shows up, it's super important, and you're like, guys, that station's being run by a combination of the B, C, and D team. We need to fix that.
Yeah, the fact that there isn't, like, permanent, other than the Defiant, there isn't, like, a permanent fleet presence here is also crazy now that the Dominion is a thing.
That's very true.
Even before the Dominion, like, the fact that, how long did it take them to get the Defiant? Was that season 3? Like, again, just the minute Bajor became that much of an important tactical location because of the wormhole, there should have been just an Excelsior class just permanently there, chilling.
Oh, that's all right, man. They had 3 runabouts that explode if you brain up them.
And whatever shit the Bajoran militia owns.
Couple of replicators.
Raiders.
We really should have been keeping track of how many runabouts have crashed.
Yeah, seriously.
because it's a lot.
Those things explode almost as easily as O-berths. But yeah, man. Avery Brooks is just the perfect captain to have on hand when you need I'm going crazy with visions overacting.
I thought his, like, seizing was really good.
Upsettingly, yes.
Good. When he was pulling a full-on Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That's exactly what I called it.
Exact same thing. Yep.
Yeah, it was their homage that he just built the fucking obelisk out of his food.
Yep.
Because he was going crazy.
So that was on purpose then?
That was on purpose.
Okay, yeah.
I know these shapes.
I mean, that is basically this episode is the plot of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Yeah.
He has an encounter with like an alien thing and then goes crazy.
Fixates like crazy.
I've never seen it.
It's a good movie.
Worth a watch?
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's like from that era of like slower sci-fi movies though. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
I sort of like that though.
Yeah, it's a very and that's what we're here about, but yeah, it's totally worth watching. What else?
Oh yeah, Cassidy's back.
Cassidy's back.
Yay!
She chose a good time though, because if she'd shown up when he wasn't high as a kite on visions and electricity, it might have been a slightly more awkward reunion. But instead, he's just like DTF. Emissary.
It's not even
really.
It's not
he's
even
like, want to come to Bajor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down to go to Bajor and fuck around in some caves.
Oh no, they fuck in the caves.
Oh,
well,
don't kid yourself.
It also
they
takes
definitely
a couple
fuck
hours
once
to
they're there.
get there on the runabout.
Oh, that's true.
Say that again, Jake.
So it takes a couple hours to get there in the
Oh,
runabout.
okay.
So it's not like they were playing Fizzbin.
No,
either,
he was making more models out of mashed potatoes.
Damn it!
Right.
We forgot to mention Fizzbin.
Yes.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you, Jake.
Quark
Fizzbin.
offered to teach Odo how to play Fizzbin.
Yep, nice little Easter egg.
I loved it.
Yeah, oh god, now I just imagine Sisko coming back with Cassidy from Bajor on the runabout, just being like, Chief, hose it down.
No.
Wait,
Sorry.
so real quick, because we probably should have mentioned Fizzbin. That was a game that was made up.
Yeah.
That wasn't a real game.
Nope.
So did somebody...
Yes.
Did
The Sigma
Kirk
Iosians.
market it after that mission to be like...
No, the gangster people did.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there's a Fizzbin planet, guys.
Yeah, there is a joke that the Sigma Iosians just developed the game themselves because that's the thing they do.
And exported it.
Yep. They fill in the blanks.
Wonderful.
Which means have they reached warp technology yet?
If Quark knows Fizzbin, they must have.
I mean, I feel like what probably had to happen was
Someone went to check up on them.
they had at that point the Prime Directive had been so fucked, they probably had to try their best to course correct the culture and just sort of introduced them to the larger galaxy earlier than they normally would have.
This is what I would have really liked, because I think I mentioned when we were talking Trials and Tribulations that there was an idea to revisit that planet. And I would have been like, yeah, I'd love to see what's going on with them. Everyone plays Fizzbin. Everyone dresses up in Starfleet uniforms.
That would have been amazing. Oh, and again, just taking advantage of the fact that they know they can ask Sherrock Lofton to do a bit more now. He had to break down over his old man's, I guess by default you're his medical proxy. It's like, oh, great, good,
They could call Joe. Where's Joe?
That's a good point. Good point, subspace.
Yeah, make the 18-year-old boy decide if his father lives or dies. That's a lot of work. Come on.
Well, he went for it because he figured if his dad's still alive, maybe he doesn't have to clean up his room so often.
There it is.
And the other thing is Joe would have been, way more disconnected from all the events going on.
That's true. He wouldn't know, it's actually Ben Sisko's wish to keep the crazy powers.
Yeah, whereas, he wouldn't have been there for all that. They just would have been like, here's what's going on. And he would have been like, what? No, my son's being an idiot. Save his life. Whereas Jake has to, kind of feel bad about it, even though he shouldn't,
Yeah. I want him to teach me that jambalaya recipe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he shouldn't until Ben wakes up and he's mourning the loss. I mean, that was incredible from Avery Brooks.
Mm.
They're gone.
Yeah. Oh my god. I made a great joke when he was like, they're gone, you took them away. And my joke was, oh, the old uniforms? Because this is the debut of the new uniforms.
Yeah,
because this is the first episode after First Contact was in theaters, and they wanted to debut those uniforms in First Contact first.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was weird having them just show up randomly mid-season like that. Everyone says, whoa, I guess the new uniforms are here.
Yep.
All right, then.
Admiral is still on the old uniforms.
Yeah, it takes them a while to eventually come up with an Admiral's version, because I feel like...
We see it on Voyager, but...
Yeah, well, we'll see it in this, too.
Oh, that's true, yeah, I think...
but
Admiral
for the longest time, the dress uniform, even, regardless of rank, is still just the...
Oh, yeah, because we see...
the long red coat.
We see Ben in the dress uniform, and was it in this episode or the next one?
No, we don't see him in the dress uniform at all.
Yeah, we saw him. I swear.
Nope.
We see him in the vest version and the long sleeve version.
Yeah.
I thought we saw him in the long red coat version.
Nope, not in these two.
All right, well.
He does pull off the action vest a little better than Stewart, I will say.
They're still bulky. I don't think I like these uniforms as much as I like the other ones.
Yeah, they're
they
definitely
look
not...
hot as hell.
What?
They look hot as hell.
Yeah. Like warm.
I can't imagine working all day on a soundstage.
They should have worn these on Ascent Planet.
I was going to say, like, the men's definitely aren't cut as closely as they had been previously.
The women's are always closely cut. Ha-cha-cha.
I think it was even worse this time. I forget if it's this one or the next one, but at one point it's just like, what the fuck? Did they just paint Daxes on the poor woman? Like, it is distractingly, like, compared to the previous uniform, it is, like, way too form-fitting on her. Like, let the poor woman breathe.
Furman!
Pretty much. I did like, the end shot, Sisko with his, his son and his sort of, I guess, what's the word? Yeah, with their sort of new family unit, as it were. You know, like...
This is more important than weird religious bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, we're deep in the religious bullshit era in DS9. Because I know between this and Destiny and Ascension, which is kind of what they call the Emissary trilogy within the show, like, there is so much, like, weird prophets-driven stuff.
Well, it's funny, because it's kind of... I feel like they'd kind of left a lot of that stuff by the wayside, and then, we got the Pa-Wraith recently, and now we got this, and even next episode, we're kind of back to some stuff that we'd kind of left behind for a while, so...
No, like occupation stuff?
Yeah, that it's like...
Terrorism stuff, too.
Yeah, interesting that, like, they're kind of picking up these threads, and I genuinely do not remember, like, how much these continue on now that they seem to be picking them up again.
Yeah, when I do my research, a lot of, like, the places that I read do a lot of spoiling for future things, so I try not to go too deep.
Yeah. Like, well, some stuff I do remember, but I don't want to ruin anything. But other stuff I genuinely don't remember. Because, again, with a lot of these, I haven't seen them. Some of them I haven't seen, since they aired. So we're talking 20-odd years ago. So when I do remember something, it's either because I somehow saw it more recently or just for whatever bizarre reason it's stuck.
So what do we actually think were the nature of Sisko's visions? Was he being communicated with by the prophets in real time, or was this like shit that was buried in his brain?
Interesting. There's
that
a
was
thing...
there from past, experiences.
Oh, that's a good question.
That was unlocked by the electric shock.
I think what Bashir says is whatever the zappy zap that happens to him does, it leaves some trace something or other in his brain that makes his senses more intense.
Acute. Yeah,
acute. And I think that might be something that's very involved. But yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
the kind
that's
of thing.
part of it, but like the fact that he's, like when he's walking through the promenade and like having clairvoyant things to say to people, like, oh, the crops will be better this year. Like it was like legit Jesus stuff.
Yeah, he healed that leper. What?
Your son forgives you, Admiral Wheat.
So I mean, it couldn't have even been like knowledge that was unlocked. It had to have been like there was something going on with the prophets in real time, I think.
Yeah, like they somehow between the zap and using the orb of prophecy, like it was maybe more directly connected. He was talking about things like connections being made, so it's even possible that his sense of time was going a bit non-linear.
Maybe having used whatever the orb of time that sent them back to Trials and Tribulations time might have something to do with it. Because I don't think Sisko ever like used a prophecy orb before. He's only had that encounter in the wormhole before.
Did he ever? Didn't Kaiopaka have him stand by an orb once, or am I making that up?
Oh god, I don't remember. Opaka died so goddamn early, or quasi died. Fake died. So early in the show.
Yeah, I can't remember if she had him orb at any point.
I know Kira orbed. I know Quark orbed.
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, I mean, perhaps we'll find out more about Sisko's connection to the prophets in the future.
Oh, we certainly will. I know that he sees all these locusts that are coming.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That I'm sure are reminiscent of something or other in whatever their stupid metaphor means. But the in-joke with the writers was that they were supposed to be, like, early on, there was a plot that they wanted to do where all these space locusts would come to Bajor, but the Bajorans would be like, yes, this was prophesied, therefore we should let them ravage our planet. And Sisko's like, no, you shouldn't do that. They'll kill you. Come on.
Yeah, no, it was a warning, not like a lay out the welcome mat for the fucking locusts.
Bajor is such a disaster planet.
I'm so glad they're not in the Federation still.
I mean, on one hand, though, if they were in the Federation, maybe, they would start getting more of the help they desperately need with, like, education.
Yeah, I feel like there is one news station on Bajor, and it is the Bajoran version of Fox News.
No, it's fucking OAN, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then every other show is just a proselytizer going on about religion.
And reruns of I Love Lucy. Because those are everywhere.
Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes, we should.
Like one more brief thing, in that Wynn is interesting in this episode.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, I forgot about that, her little speech.
Yeah.
He's very Wynn-interesting.
Hey.
Good one.
Like, because, until she mentioned this, I just assumed she probably ran out the occupation just kind of chilling somewhere. Like, this would have been something interesting to have known earlier.
Well, earlier she was just, as I think I mentioned before, she was just around to be evil around people.
Yeah.
And I know they said, they realized, like, what they've been doing with Dukat, which was trying to, like, make him, like, a complex flavor of evil.
Yeah.
Now they've given Wynn a new complex flavor, which I'm behind, like 100%.
I like it, but I also don't want her to be a sympathetic character. Like, I don't want to feel sorry for her.
No, I agree. But I also think that it's not so much that she's a sympathetic character, but making sense of her motivations.
Yeah.
Because she's always, even when she's being evil, as she's been in the past, you can understand that, at least from her point of view, she thinks she's doing what's best for Bajor.
Right.
And objectively, it's not. Like, anybody looking from the outside could be like, what the fuck?
Right.
And she thinks that she is the best for Bajor, which is why, she does that whole power play with, like, the circle and everything.
Yeah.
Just like when we talked about with Dukat. Dukat is the hero of his own story. Wynn is kind of the hero of her own story because everything she does makes sense to her. It's not just done because the writers need it to happen. It's done because it's all in character.
So, like, from her perspective, like, having been imprisoned because of her religious practices,
it makes a lot of her make sense.
Right, exactly.
It makes her it gives her some depth.
It gives her a martyr complex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Definitely. But yeah, that'll be an interesting nugget to sort of have in the back of one's mind going forward when we continue to see her. The things she will inevitably, my child, all over the place.
Nice.
Well, anywho, more Bajor shenanigans.
So many.
Yeah.
The Darkness and the Light. In this episode, well, let's just see. People are just knocking Off friends of Kira.
Yep.
Well, Kira is knocked up.
Hey. So people that she was in the resistance with are dying. They're being murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And then after each murder, someone is sending Kira a taunting voicemail saying, that's one. That's
the
two.
warranty on your vehicle is coming to...
Your Google business listing is about to expire.
Oh, I've not gotten that one.
Oh, I get that one. I think it's because I'm on the paperwork for corporate stuff. Anyway, so yeah, these are all people that she's worked with during the occupation, most of whom are members of her resistance cell, but one of them isn't. Although
she's an informant, of the Shakaar resistance cell.
And they're also like really creative sort of assassination things.
Yeah, and really technical too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
Mostly bombs and shit.
Yeah, there's
like
a
hyper
fucking
convoluted.
we got to return to our favorite horrific transporter
Oh.
deaths.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
give
awful.
Give me TMP any day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This
at
one
least-
was awful.
At least she didn't make noise.
yeah, she was fully toasted by the time she materialized, unlike the thing in
TMP.
or
Yeah, no, they like she just was killed. Like it is implied that in TMP they lived for a second.
They merged. They lived.
Didn't live for
they
long.
Gurgled,
no,
they died.
luckily, but she just. Oh, anyway, sorry. Go on.
Chris is not
and
handling
we have
this well.
so then so this is going on, and of course Kira's freaked out and is worried that she's going to be next.
And then more of her friends will die.
Yeah.
And that sucks too.
Yeah, also that, but she's
got a stupid baby inside of her.
So she's put under, guard. Odo, of course, is trying to get to the bottom of it. But somehow, despite Odo's vigilance, Jesus Christ, vigilance,
Village people.
two fucking Bajoran terrorists managed to sneak not only onto the station, but into Kira's room and disarm and knock out the guard.
Yep.
Fortunately for Kira, they're her friends who we've met previously. They were the farmer couple that was friends with Shakaar, the one-armed man. And they're like, oh, well, we'll protect you.
And they brought her some Chekhov's herbs.
Yeah, they brought her some herbs, which, again, despite it being a Chekhov's gun, I thought that played out really well. I like that they telegraphed that early. But yeah, there's some herbs that you give to Bajoran women who are pregnant that makes them not sneeze, I guess. But she doesn't like taking them because they act as a stimulant, and not even a normal sedative will let her sleep while she takes the herbs.
And I believe she says they smell like something that grew out of Quark's ears.
Yep.
That's a nice detail. Or they taste like something?
Or taste like, yeah. Either way. Doesn't sound pleasant.
I wonder why she's licking Quark's ears, but...
New kind of umox.
Oh, boy. Oral umox.
Ugh. Anywho, so her friends are there, and they're like, we'll protect you. Don't worry. You're in safe hands. And then they get killed, too.
Whoops.
Somebody puts a bomb on the... and this is in the O'Brien's apartment. So they blow up the O'Brien's apartment.
Man.
Fortunately, not fortunately.
But like...
I guess fortunately for us, anyway, only those two were in it. The O'Briens are okay.
This is like the most convoluted one of all, too, though, right? Because they said that it locked on to their bio readings from like a ship that was docked at DS9 and then attached to their windows. I don't know.
I mean, it was very convoluted. But anyway, Odo finally gets some leads, and he's like, all right, I'm going to check out these leads. And then Kira's like, fuck that noise. I'm going to check out the leads. So she gets the list. She kills 3 of the people on the list.
No.
No. When she said eliminated, she means that she knocked them off the list because she knew that they were not.
That's what you think she meant.
No, that's definitely what she meant.
It's ambiguous.
Because she said that... No, she said she knew that they couldn't have been the ones. It's not ambiguous.
I think she killed them.
No.
Do you trust what she says?
I think
I trust her.
Broke some knees.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Anywho.
Fine, I just don't think she killed them.
She killed them and then looked up their alibi.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Good
Sounds
job,
Kira.
Kira.
So she narrows it down to a dude that lives on SETI Alpha 5. She beams into his little hovel, and he's got like a hologram pretending to be a Cardassian, and it turns out it is a Cardassian. Sandor Clegane, the Cardassian.
The Phantom of the Opera, the Cardassian.
He's got half of his face melted, and turns out that he was just, he was on Bajor during the occupation, but he was just like a cleaner. He wasn't a bad Cardassian, and the resistance cell, including Kira, blew up the house that he worked in of the Gull that he served and killed a bunch of people. And his whole thing was, the resistance was indiscriminate in their killing of Cardassians. You're awful, you're murderers, you killed innocents. And look, see, I'm only killing the guilty. I'm not killing anyone that wasn't guilty of murder before me. In fact, I will go so far as to not kill you until I cut your baby out of you, so that the innocent doesn't have to die. Like, Kira's like, yeah, but if you cut a baby out of me, it will die. Like, it can't live on its own. That's why it's in there.
Well, especially this baby at this
especially
time.
this one. So, of course, she's like, well, wait a minute. If you're going to cut me open, at least give me a sedative, because, your point is to kill me, not torture me to death. So at least give me a sedative. So he's like, all right, I'll do that. But of course, because she's been taking her Quark's ear root, she only faked being asleep. And then right as he's about to cut into her, she beats the shit out of him and then shoots him in the chest and kills him. And then she has a sad because she realizes, he might have been right that being a terrorist and killing indiscriminately does indeed have some moral questionability to it.
Yeah, looking at this episode, what was the name of the episode we just watched in which we learned that all constables are bad?
Oh,
that one.
The one where Odo was pretending to be a Cardi for a while.
Yeah. What was that called?
It was like last week, and we
He Without Sin.
Yeah.
Is that
that's the bad one where Jesse and Worf are fighting.
Right, that's
damn it.
Yeah,
well, it was the same week anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, looking at that one, like so close to this one, like they're very interesting when they parallel off each other. When you kind of see like no one's hands are clean on this ship, on the station.
Yeah.
Except maybe Jake Sisko.
Probably.
When he hasn't been stirring the jambalaya.
I mean, his hands aren't clean because he just never washes them.
Dirty child.
I know, the one thing I was saying to Kate, like, man, can you imagine the night in the O'Brien apartment, though, where Kira's two terrorist friends and the chief and her are all just sitting there. The three of them who aren't pregnant getting shit-faced, and all four of them just talking shit about Cardassians all night. Because that's what happened.
Oh, of course.
It seems likely.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. So, this episode for me, I like the idea that we're actually exploring the morality of the Bajoran resistance.
Yeah, and then our visitor acts her ass off, too.
Oh, yeah, she does great. I mean, this reminded me a lot of the one where, we see the investigation, the one where we go back in time to the occupation.
Right.
And, and it turned out that she did kill a dude who was going to inform on people.
That's the thing. It does kind of feel like we've been here before.
Yeah.
And there was something kind of anticlimactic about it.
I agree. The fact that it was just some random Cardi.
Which is the point.
A little bit.
And, that is the idea, is, random people who weren't military, who weren't directly involved in any way, were hurt. That was the whole point, but it somehow still didn't quite land right. Maybe because he was so fucking bonkers.
Yeah, he definitely had that, I'm a crazy hermit.
Yeah, I speak in
Ted
poetry.
Kaczynski situation.
Yeah, maybe if he was, if it was a vendetta, but he wasn't legit.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
I said the same fucking thing. I was like, okay, Buffalo Bill. Jesus Christ.
The fact that he was just so clearly mad made it weakened it somehow.
Well, plus we didn't get to see him dancing to Goodbye Horses, which I think is really a missed opportunity.
I don't know.
You
For
fuck
me, I think it was a little obvious that it would have been a Cardassian.
Oh, that's interesting.
I would have liked to see some subversion of that, where it was like, oh no, this was a Bajoran that happened to work for a Cardassian and was
well, maybe not even that. It could have been a jilted wife whose husband was killed in the line of duty as a terrorist or whatever. Could have really done a lot to. But I also
Fural's arm back from the dead.
I honestly felt like I felt when we lost Sarek, which is that I felt like losing these two of Kira's friends like this was a fucking waste.
Yeah.
They need the stakes to be high at all times.
I mean, I know, but it they didn't feel, I don't know. It felt like a waste of two, pretty interesting characters. And, I knew they were gonna die. As soon as they showed up, I was like, oh, y'all are fucked.
Yeah.
But even so, I don't know, it felt like a real waste of like two interesting established characters. Why couldn't they have killed off Shakaar?
Yeah. Originally Shakaar was supposed to be in both this and Rapture, but I guess they realized that his role would have been so small in both episodes that it wasn't worth hiring the actor and paying him.
Well, that's the other thing, like, this guy's like, look, I can only do so much. This guy's the president of Bajor. He's got a lot more security.
Yeah.
That's true.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
And he
also,
wasn't
like, he wasn't
actively
directly involved in the action that
No,
this guy was seeking
that's true,
revenge
but
for.
you feel like, the buck stops with the guy the cell is literally named after.
True.
He probably signed off on it.
So
But he's the president now.
Yes.
And that's a different
But
statement
this
you're making.
guy, I mean, is such a freaking brilliant assassin. Like, that's the other thing.
That's
It's
true.
like this guy puts freaking, Garrick to shame in his covert assassin skills. I'm like, how is this guy not a member of the Obsidian Order?
Yeah,
Maybe he
seriously.
is.
I mean, he probably, like, the fact that he was just, Garrick was a gardener on Romulus, so maybe this guy being a cleaner on Bajor is more of the same.
Could be right, actually. I hadn't even thought of that, but you're probably right.
Yeah, I get what they were going for, but for some reason it didn't land with me.
The episode or his being the guy behind it all?
Kind of all of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing I look at, because I look at Kira's growth throughout the seasons, and I think last season we were talking about how Kira's been looking at her terrorist lifestyle kind of like in the rearview mirror, and like looking at, like, she's moved away, she's moved forward, like in Duet, like she made a lot of leaps and bounds in Duet where she can look at Cardassians as individuals and not as, all Cardassians must die because you're here.
Yeah.
And then she delivers this speech to Silaran Prin saying, like, no, all Cardassians needed to die who were on the planet, which, yes, was very true for her at the time. So I almost wonder if it kind of needed a little something else because it made it feel like we weren't seeing the same character anymore. I kind of wanted to see her growth that she's had these past couple seasons also in that scene.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It felt like this was a leftover script from an earlier season. Aside from her being pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, it's ground we've been through. And yeah, you're right. That's part of the problem. It feels like a lot of the lessons she has learned up until now have been forgotten or something. Or, and if it was supposed to be like a relapse or like even though she has consciously learned in some way, there's still this core of her that's still there. Like, it didn't come through quite as well. Like, again, I can see a lot of what they were trying. I don't think they quite managed it in the writing.
Yeah, it needed like an extra layer of something. I'm not sure what that something was, because I also know, like, looking at that scene where she's telling, I keep wanting to call him Vilix Pran, god damn it, Silaran Prin, when she's telling Silaran Prin, like, no, you all Cardassians deserve to die because you were somewhere where you shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Like, it needed her to say, like, I don't want to kill you, but I'll kill you now if I have to, because, it's fucking self-defense at this point.
Yeah.
And she kills the fuck out of him in self-defense.
Yeah.
And also defending that baby thing.
Yeah.
And she probably liked it a little bit too, though.
The killing? Oh yeah, Kira Hart's killing. The second Odo says, if I give you this list, you'll go kill these people. And she's like, hell yes, I would. Give me that
you're
list.
right.
And that's the other thing. I guess it's also been a while since we've been able to visit any of this because, of course, it's now been a while since they established the new Cardassian government, and they've ostensibly been sort of at peace with Cardassia.
Yeah, Shakaar is the president now, so everyone's cool.
We've had a couple of Golden Cut Kira buddy comedies. Sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
They have a legitimate treaty with Cardassia now, so it's more than just like not being hostile. They're legit allies.
Yeah.
We're all fighting the Klingons at the moment.
So, something that struck me, I don't know, maybe it's not weird. I thought it was a little odd. So, Kira's boyfriend, Shakaar, she has this thing where she's talking about, I joined the resistance
I thought of this too.
when I was literally a child.
13, she said.
I thought she said 16.
No,
whatever
13.
it was.
I thought it was 13.
I
too.
misheard. Yikes.
So yeah, I get it. They're both adults now, but he's known her since she was a child.
Ugh.
And it does seem a little odd.
It's grooming-ish.
And that's the thing,
groomy.
Up until this point, I'd assumed they were
of an age,
roughly the same age.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe he
Although
was
we
also
don't know. I
16
mean,
or
Shakaar
13.
could be like, we don't know how young Shakaar was. I mean, he could have been
true.
only
Weird.
a couple years older than
Very
her,
weird.
presumably.
Yeah, he might have only been 18, but then how was the cell named after him if he was so young?
Maybe it was just like maybe like the Shakaar cell was started out as just like an edgy high school group. It's just like goths.
Yeah, also you got to assume that the cell was around for a long time. Like, how long did the cell stand?
Yeah.
Probably a decade, 2 decades?
Well, I mean, think about how old Kira is. If she started in it when she was 13 and it was already established, and now she's,
an adult.
in her 30s at least.
Don't know.
I mean, I don't know. She couldn't be over 30 because that's literally the age that you turn into an old person in Star Trek.
Yep.
Just ask Bashir.
Yep.
And she still seems pretty young to me. So, but no, I mean, she's probably in her 30s or supposed to be in her 30s. So it's probably like 15 or 20 years, possibly, that the Shakaar cell was active.
Probably, yeah. In which case she grew up with Shakaar. Grew up, I want to say under Shakaar, but that sounds weird. Damn it.
Yikes.
Damn it.
Ew.
Yeah, in the real world, at least, she's only 5 years younger than the guy that plays Shakaar.
Yeah, but that means nothing in Star Trek.
No, I know.
In real world, Nimoy and his father, whose actor I've forgotten the name of, it's gone
Mark
now.
Leonard.
Mark Leonard, yeah.
Oh,
Nimoy
yeah,
and Mark
they're-
Leonard are basically the same age.
Yeah, you see that a lot, actually.
But here's
They-
another question, because we see that Kira says something to the effect of, I think it was Lupasa made her earring for her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I missed
under
that.
I was under the impression that the earrings were like tied to your family, because I think that's how they noticed people's whatever their caste system was
Dajara.
called. Yeah.
Well, maybe this replaced her original jewelry because she was claiming her new family.
Yeah, but someone recognizes her on the station as a person of, XY Dajara.
Oh, but I thought it was because of her name. I thought they knew that Kira was a from the shit artist Jara.
Yeah, I thought that
I
was
don't
the
know.
case.
Oh,
too.
I thought it was the earring. It's also possible that, I mean, even though she made it for her, maybe she'd had a previous one that was lost or
Or
something.
she customized it for her.
Yeah, made her a new one.
You're in the Kira family, therefore I'll add the K.
Yeah, like she could have based it on the original design in some capacity, so that
Maybe.
those cultural markers are at least still there.
Yeah, because I do know that Kira has recognized someone by their earring before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm imagining. Yeah, so she recognized.
Oh, actually,
the
Well, yeah, Gul Dukat does that with his baby mama, too.
well,
Oh,
not
yeah,
just
but
that. What's his name? The guy who was like,
Right! Yeah.
they
The-
smuggled
who the
his
fuck was
earring
that?
out.
the guy that they rescued from the
Lee Major, no.
Lee
Nalas.
Lee Nalas.
Nalas, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Good call.
Yeah, but I'm assuming those people just have it's probably a thing. If you know somebody and somebody's famous enough, you would recognize their earring. I would
Yeah.
guess.
Maybe. The earrings are very important to them, so yeah, it makes sense. Speaking of ears, Nog, who was here on the
Oh,
other
yeah.
station, we learned that Ferengi lobes are better than computer analysis.
Faster, at least.
I am incredulous about this.
So, Data was able to hear everybody when
In cause and effect.
in cause and effect
Oh,
when he
yeah.
heard the
How many
recording.
people were banging?
Yep.
Yep. When they played back the recording, he could hear everybody's distinct voice and
That's
what
right.
they were talking about.
Forgot about that.
He's a computer, though.
He's a computer, and also potentially the fidelity of that recording was a lot better than whatever was sent to Kira.
Well, Data's a computer, but with a bespoke neural net that no one has yet been able to copy.
True.
Plus, here's the other thing. The computer on DS9 is a piece of shit.
It has
Cobbled-
pups in there.
Yeah, pups in there. It's a mix of like Cardassian shit with Starfleet bits and bobs.
Well, and the Phantom of Cardassia is probably using his, 40-year-old flip phone to record the audio or to to tape it and then, put some filters over it.
Yeah.
Can you text it back?
Can you
run
play
it through
Fizzbin
Snapchat?
No, but you can play Snake.
Okay.
Yeah,
and falling numbers.
Dude's using Audacity and he's just winging it.
Yeah. I was thrown off a little bit actually when the second, that's 2 went and Quark had it. Because I feel like they should have immediately been like, Quark, what do you have to do with this? Quark, who do you know? Quark, where did you get this?
I thought the
same thing. And then that's dropped entirely.
Yeah.
Well, because what it was in a delivery that he got, and he was supposed to give it to her.
But he's duplicitous as fuck!
Yeah,
well, that's clearly the one thing that the Phantom of Cardassia did not realize.
Well, I thought at least Odo should have questioned him, because we've already established that Odo always questions Quark.
True.
Yes.
And I'm sure he did off camera. But I feel like, for all that's wrong with him, I don't think Quark would consciously be involved in a plot against Kira.
Yeah, I was
he
thinking
absolutely
the same thing.
So the fact that he had the thing, and no one was like, what do you have this thing for? Never came up, was a little distracting.
It also was just weird. I mean, maybe it was just the way to shoehorn Armin Shimmerman into the episode. But like, it just seemed weird from a writing perspective that they would make that be something Quark had.
I think it was just really for the sake of the creepiness of having it playing and you don't know where it's coming from at first.
Yeah, that was definitely sketchy.
And they were like, Quark got it and turned it on when he shouldn't have. Shrug. Which does sound like a thing he'd do. I'm sure he reads people's mail if he can.
Oh, definitely. It took me until that's 3 to understand that they were saying that's 1, that's 2, that's 3.
Yeah, well, I didn't get it on the first one. I thought it was going to be some like weird Bajoran language or something.
That's what I thought too.
See, as I had thought, is he saying that's 1? No, that's too obvious. And I was like, nope, that is what he said. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very funny because I guess like this whole pitch was a riff on Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None.
Oh.
With just, everyone being knocked off one at a time. And
Right.
in the play, dumb play, one of the little figurines in the closet gets removed every time someone gets killed.
Huh. Interesting. I've never actually seen it or read it.
Is that the same one that
It's also called 10 Little Indians,
Yes.
but no one calls it that anymore.
No, yeah, I've read that. That's one of the few Agatha Christie novels I've read, actually. It was gifted to me. So, but I was just wondering if it was the same. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the in the original title,
Right, it's 10 Little Indians.
It was Indian figurines were
right.
the things.
Right. And that's, I think, the version I read.
Great detail in which after Kira has gone into Odo's office and stolen the names, Odo walks in, takes one look at where his chair is, and says, someone's been in here. It's Kira. I know exactly what's going on because he's that good a detective.
Well, and because he just knows Kira.
Yeah.
And he knows his chair.
Business to know. In his chair.
He's just super anal is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, any good detective is, though, I think.
Although he's anal about his chair, but, 2 Bajoran terrorists sneaking in?
Guys, eating, sleeping, masturbating, shitting, pissing. Okay,
making love with Quark.
And making love with Quark.
None of the security staff, like, how many people does Kira knock out when she's trying to decompress the entire habitat ring?
3 or 4,
kidding.
right?
Yeah.
Actually, why the fuck is this Odo's investigation? Because he basically says the instant that they learn that Latha has been killed, he's like, I'm on it. This is my investigation. I'm like, dude, this should be something Bajor should be doing.
Well,
what are you doing?
Also investigate. Like, I think he takes a personal interest in it because it's Kira.
He does.
I'm assuming
definitely.
that there's also a real police investigation happening.
We just never talk with them.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Would you trust the Bajoran police to do anything right?
I don't trust any Bajoran to do anything.
Wow.
Maybe yell at Cloud.
I mean, I trust Kira to kill a Cardi.
She did.
I've seen her do it.
Yeah.
The real hero of the story, though, is the Makara herb.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
In spite of its stank.
I hope for her sake maybe the fresh ones don't taste as bad. is the one she'd been getting from Julian.
I'm still just really bummed that her friends get it.
Yeah.
That's a real bummer.
Yeah.
They're way more interesting than fucking Shakaar, and I know
Oh, yeah.
we're not done seeing him. Or at least I assume we're not.
I think we'll see him soon.
Will we? Interesting.
Unfortunate. Just feel like he's one of those, like, especially now that we learned that they met when she was so young, you just feel like, I keep getting older, but high school girls stay the same age. Hey! Just feel like that's Shakaar. I hate him.
Yikes.
Just hate him.
Gross. And then I'm gonna go haunt their grandmas.
Right, I forgot that was him. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Rex Manning from Empire Records, somehow.
I think you said that before.
Have
I don't know if you said it
Well,
on the show, but you've definitely said that before.
I'm glad that then, because that means I mean it. Doubly. I doubly mean it. He reminds me of Rex Manning.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a Rex Manning vibe.
Yeah, and that he's a sleaze, and his hair is bad. And he was cool once, but isn't now. That's basically it. He is Rex Manning of Bajor.
Rex Manning of Bajor.
Bajor and Rex Manning.
Well, cool.
Well.
Are we done?
God, I hope so. And I'm sure our listeners do too. Well, if you like what you heard and you want to hear more, Star to Steer Her By. We're a weekly podcast, and you can find us wherever fine podcasts are sold. We are on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I don't know, probably some other ones. Don't worry about it. You found us this time. I have faith that you'll do it again. If you want to find us somewhere else, you don't just want to listen to our voices, you want to read things that we share or read things that we've written, or I don't know, you're just really lonely. You want to see if there's other people who like this show that you could, have a community with. You can find us on Facebook by searching for A Star to Steer Her By. We're on Tumblr and Twitter at SSHB Podcast, or you can check us out at sshbpodcast.com. As usual, I have been Caitlin.
I have been Jake.
This has been Chris.
And this is always Ames.
And we were reminded this week of a rule of acquisition. I don't remember which one it was.
I don't remember the number, but do you remember what it was?
It was, no, do you?
I
Treat
do.
debtors like family members. Exploit them.
That's the one.
There it is. Thank you, Worf.